Okay, so the one big thing I wanted you to take from the notes from yesterday to understand was improper to mixed fractions. Okay, when we are changing an improper number or improper fraction to a mixed number, we're going to typo, and that just means divide. The top on the inside, bottom on the outside. So 5/3 is an improper fraction, okay, because 5 is bigger than 3. So that would not be the correct way to see a fraction. So we have to divide it, which means 5 goes on the inside, 3 goes on the outside, because this is fraction bar means divide. That's 5 divided by 3. 5 divided by 3. So we're going to say 3 will go into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, then we subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 becomes the numerator, and the denominator is 3. So I have 2 out of 3 left over. So let's look at, how about, let me find a problem here. It's going to help y'all. 7/5. 7/5. That's 7 on the inside, 5 on the outside. Okay? 1 times 5 equals 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. We have 2 left over, so we're not putting a remainder 2. We're not making it a decimal. We're going to make this 2 the numerator, and 5 is going to be the denominator. 1 2/5. So I have 1 whole with 2 out of 5 left over. Okay, what if I had, let's do it up here, 22/9. That's 22 on the inside, 9 on the outside. 9 will go into 22 2 times. 9 times 2 is 18. And then we subtract. If you have 2, you can't take 8 away. So we have to borrow. 2 becomes 1, and this 2 becomes 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. So I have 22 will go into, 9 will go into 22 2 times with 4 out of the 9 left over. 2 4/9. Okay, so that's top in, bottom out. That's converting it to a mixed number. So we went from a improper fraction to a mixed number. Now we're going to take those mixed numbers and we're going to make them improper fractions by multiplying and then adding. So we're going to first multiply the whole number by the denominator. Okay, we're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator. All right, then we're going to take the product. Whoops. Can't spell today. I'm going to take the product and add it to the numerator. Okay, this will be your new problem. Okay, this will be the new problem. And then finally, the last thing that we're going to do is slide the denominator over. So the denominator should stay the same. Okay, so let's try that. Mixed to improper. So what it looks like is, so let's say I've got 1 2/3. Okay, I'm going to multiply the whole number and the denominator. So 1 times 3 is 3. So I'm going to put that up there. And then I'm going to add the 3 plus the 2. So the 3 is the product of 3 times 1. And then 3 plus 2 equals 5. So that becomes our new problem. And then we're going to slide the denominator over. Okay, so in junior high, they call this Texas. So if they say, are you going to do Texas on this? Yes. T and X. Okay, you're going to multiply and then add. Order of operations says we multiply before we add anyways. Another way you may see it is the C method. So let's say I have 2 4/9. I'm going to start here at the 9, and I'm going to work all the way around. 9 times 2 equals 18. 18 plus 4 equals 22. The denominator still stays the same. Okay, so it's however you want to look at it. But basically, all you're doing is multiplying the denominator times the whole number, taking that answer and adding it to the numerator, and then the denominator stays the same. Notice it stayed the same both times. So let's say I want to have 8 3/8. I'm going to multiply 8 times 8, and I get 64. Okay, and then 64 plus 3 equals 67. And then my denominator stays 8. Okay, what about 2 5/6? Multiply 6 times 2, and then add. 6 times 2 equals 12. 12 plus 5 is 17. The denominator stays 6. Okay? All right. So you should have gotten Tybo from yesterday. Today we're adding mixed to improper. Okay? Where you multiply the whole number by the denominator. The product is added to the numerator. And then you slide the denominator over. It stays the same. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about equivalent fractions. Okay, to make equivalent fractions by either multiplying or divide. M-U-L-T, that's an I. Multiply or divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Okay, we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, or we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So on this one, 4/5, I'm going to say we're going to multiply by, let's do 3. So that means I'm going to multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 3, because the golden rule for fractions is whatever you do to the one, you do to the other. So 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. So 4/5 is equivalent to 12/15. Okay. All right. So here I said divide by 6 over 12. All right. So here we just have to look. What number, even number, goes into both 6 and 12? Well, it's even. So I know every one of those numbers is going to go into 2. Okay. When I have an even over an even, I know 2 is going to go into it easily. So we're going to divide the top by 2, and we're going to divide the bottom by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, because 2 times 3 is 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6, because 2 times 6 is 12. So 6 over 12 is equivalent to 3 over 6. We made an equivalent fraction. Here, we're going to multiply by 2. Times 2 times 2. 6 times 2 equals 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 6/12 is equivalent to 12/24. Okay? It does not matter what number you pick to multiply. The only thing you have to be careful with is when you divide. Okay? You have to make sure that that number that you're dividing by goes into both digits. So 4 over 6, I wouldn't use division, or would you? Is there a number that's going to go both into 4 and 6? Or can you divide? So multiply it and then try to divide it. Okay, 7/15. 7 and 15, 7's prime. So 7 doesn't go into 15 at all. So I know the only way I can get an equivalent fraction is by multiplying. You can multiply by any number, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whatever you multiply by, it's going to give you an equivalent fraction as long as you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Okay, so multiply 7/15 by any number. And then tell me what you got. I'm going to do 4. Okay. 7 times 4 is 28. And 15 times 4 is 60. 7/15 is equivalent to 28/60. Okay. If you multiplied 4, 6, you can multiply by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 6 times 2 is 12. If you divided, they're both even. You should have divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so what we're doing when we divide is reducing it. Okay? All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is least common multiple. Okay? So LCM is the least common multiple. Okay? We're going to take two denominators and list the multiples by skip counting. By skip counting by whatever the denominator is. Then we're going to find the least least common number the least common number they both have in common. Okay, so I kind of repeated myself there. So we're looking for the smallest. Okay, the smallest number. I think that's what was supposed to go there. We're looking for the smallest number they both have in common. Okay, this will be the LCM. So 1/4 and 2/8. My denominators are 4 and 8. So 4 and 8. So we're going to find all the multiples for 4 and 8. You can skip count by 4. You can do your multiplication facts by 4. Whatever works best. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, or you can do 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And I'd only go about 4 or 5. And then you're going to do the next one. 8, 16. Oh, do you see something they have in common? The smallest number they both have in common is 8. So that means the LCM is 8. Okay? 1/5 and 2/4. So my numbers are 5 and 4. So I'm going to skip count by 5. Start with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Start with 4. 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, there is nothing they have in common so far, so I need to keep going. 20, 24. You see anything they have in common? Right. The LCM is 20. Okay, 2 and 3, or 2/3 and 3/4. So the two denominators are 4 and 3. So we're going to skip count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. The least common multiple is going to be what? Okay, so to find the least common multiple, we skip count. We use the two denominators and we skip count. And find the smallest number that they both have in common. But it has to be the smallest number. Okay, the LCM has to be the smallest. You might also hear it called the LCD, which is least common denominator. Because what this is leading us into is subtracting and adding fractions with unlike denominators. So we have to find the LCM to turn it into a denominator. Okay? All right, so LCM, we're skip counting, looking for the smallest number they both numbers have in common. Equivalent fractions, we either add or multiply or divide, but we have to do both numbers, okay, the numerator and the denominator. Improper to mixed, we top in, bottom out. Okay, mixed to improper, we multiply the whole number by the denominator. Add the product of that to the numerator, and then make the new problem and slide the denominator over. Okay? Look for an assignment for fractions, improper to mixed, mixed to improper, and also an assignment on finding the least common multiple later on today.